Hey folks, have you ever played Super Mario Bros. 2 and wondered why it's so different from Super Mario Bros. 1? Well, in this video I'm going to reveal why, and at the end I'm also going to reveal another secret about it. So, stay tuned folks, roll my logo. Hello folks, welcome to Nerd World Problems, and today we're going to have a bit of a different kind of video. As a person who dabbles in little-known video game facts, I have a tendency to unload this information on my poor, unsuspecting friends, who have a habit of saying something that flips the, oh, I have to explain it to them switch in my mind. And with that being said, I remember hearing some of them complain about why Super Mario Bros. 2 is so different from Super Mario Bros. 1 because they prefer the first one over the second one. And I realized they don't understand the secret behind the development of that game. And so today, we're going to learn the origins of Super Mario Bros. 2.
Let's go back to the mid-80s, where hair rock bands were all the rage and the Golden Girls were still relevant. The NES had taken the world by storm, and at the helm was our favorite Italian plumber, Mario. In 1985, the first Super Mario Bros. Game came out and became an instant classic. It was easy to pick up, it was fun, and it was challenging. So, of course, a sequel was all the fans wanted. In America, time passed, and it passed, and it passed, and 3 years later, still no sequel. So you may be wondering, so when did Japan get Super Mario Bros. 2? Only a single year after the first, in 1986. This is Super Mario Bros. 2. If you're American or European, you may be wondering, that looks nothing like Super Mario Bros. 2 that I know. That looks like the original. Well, you're right, this is not Super Mario Bros. 2 that you would know. This game is the true sequel to the first Super Mario Bros. This game was developed for players who had mastered the original game, and if I were to use an overused meme, Super Mario Bros. 2 is basically the Dark Souls of Mario games at the time. Think of this game as more of an expansion pack. It was 32 more levels in the same vein as Super Mario Bros., but with harder platforming and poisonous mushrooms that can kill you. After the official game tester of Nintendo of America at the time played the game, he was taken aback by the game's sheer raw difficulty, thinking of it more as a punishment than a game. He gave his criticism to Shigeru Miyamoto, and Nintendo HQ deemed Super Mario Bros. 2 too difficult for American and European audiences. So Nintendo scrapped all plans to port the game outside of Japan. So 3 years passed without a word from Nintendo about a sequel to their most popular game. People wanted more, and Nintendo had not given it to them. Then, suddenly, there was the release of Super Mario Bros. 2 outside of Japan, but it looked and played very far in comparison to the original. Relying a lot on vertical platforming and picking up and throwing things instead of running forward and stomping on them, a lot of people clamored to the store and snagged this fantastic new game. So much so that people were traveling city to city just to try and get a copy of the game that hadn't sold out yet.
You came 1,000 miles just for this game?
Yeah. I've done 7 stores a day for 3 weeks now. I cannot find it.
And while I'm in agreement that Super Mario Bros. 2 is a great game, some people were put off by the sudden shift in how the game looked and played. But for a long time, that reason would remain unknown to a lot of us until it eventually became more common knowledge among circles of gamers. As the years went by, we all moved on, never realizing that the Super Mario Bros. Game that we got wasn't even a Mario game to begin with. You may ask, doesn't it have Mario in the game? Yeah, you're right. But this game wasn't meant to feature Mario. In fact, this game that we call Super Mario Bros. 2 didn't feature Mario at all. It was a whole other game in general, and it featured TV mascots for the Fuji TV production company in Japan. So Super Mario Bros. 2 is actually a port of the game Doki Doki Panic, which came out in 1987. But to make it appeal to American and European audiences, Nintendo swapped out the Fuji TV characters for Mario characters, and honestly, the rest is really history from there. But as you may have realized and point out, even though Super Mario Bros. 2 or Super Mario Bros. USA in Japan is technically not a Mario game, this game was helped along in the development by Shigeru Miyamoto when it was still called Doki Doki Panic. And the positive reception of this game over the real Super Mario Bros. 2 has caused a lot of character traits and enemies to be used in other Mario games ever since. You know, just like Mario's balanced skill set, Luigi's high jump, Peach's hover jump, and Toad's speed. And for enemies, we all know the Shy Guy, the Bob-ombs, and Birdo. All 3 of them were from Doki Doki Panic originally, but have since transitioned over to the Mario universe. In fact, the character Birdo, who is considered Yoshi's love interest, is in fact a very interesting character due to all this rebranding. Birdo was assumed to be female originally, and if you were to look at Birdo now, you'd most likely still assume female. But Birdo is male, but likes to be referred to as a female. So Birdo is actually a transgendered character. And this isn't just me throwing out my opinion. In the official instruction booklet for the American Super Mario Bros. 2, it reads, Birdo. He thinks he is a girl, and he spits eggs from his mouth, but he'd rather be called Birdetta. And if you look further into Super Smash Bros. Melee, Birdo was never referred to by gender, using it for Birdo's descriptor, though Nintendo as a whole tend to refer to Birdo as a she. And almost every cameo that she makes, there is always a bit of confusion by characters on how to address her. But just to clear confusion, Birdo, who is male, wishes to be called she. Oh, also, in Japan, Birdo is called Catherine or Kathy. I don't really know the reason for the name change, so yeah. So after all that, let me ask you this. If that is the case, what is her relationship to Yoshi? Well, Yoshi is Birdo's boyfriend, and depending on your views of the situation, Birdo is also Yoshi's boyfriend. So yes, they are affectionate towards one another as you see in the Mario canon, and are of the same sex. Though one sees themselves more effeminate than what others perceive. And if you think I'm just spewing out opinion again, we're going to the Japanese website for Super Mario Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube, and yes, that website's still up, surprisingly. I'm actually shocked. If you translate the character roster description for Birdo, it reads, Birdo appears to be Yoshi's girlfriend, but is actually his boyfriend. So there you have it, folks. Super Mario Bros. 2, a Mario game that isn't a Mario game, but became a Mario game, but not only that, but became a Mario game that features a transgendered character that goes on to be in a relationship with a dinosaur of the same sex. Wow.
So with that, folks, I bet you didn't think you'd come out of here learning that Nintendo created a transgendered character oh so long ago, or that that same character is in a same-sex relationship with our favorite dinosaur friend. So, that's just some of the little itty-bitty facts that I love learning when I research stuff for this show. And in fact, Birdo originally wasn't going to be a part of any of this concerning that game. It was actually just going to be the origins of Super Mario Bros. 2, but then I remembered, oh, that's right, Birdo was also a transgendered character. That might be interesting to explore real fast. And with that being said, folks, I'd like to thank my Patreon supporters, which I think I still have one right now. And I also forgot to put your name in the last video, so Alyssa, thank you so much. Didn't mean to forget you that one time. If you have time, subscribe. That way you can get notified for all of my JillieFoo shenanigans, for Nerd World Problems, Retroactive, J-Foo Versus, and my tabletop stuff, everything that happens on this channel. Every week, bi-weekly, we're working hard. And then if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and hey, share it around with your family, friends, co-workers, strangers on the streets. Just share it on your Facebook page, share it on your Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all of the social medias. And with that being said, folks, I'll see you guys on the other side. And for what it's worth, just have fun. Bye. Say bye, guys.